We're here in Brick Township, and we service Monmouth, Ocean, and the surrounding counties in New Jersey. So this is one of the busiest weeks we've had in quite some time, certainly several months, possibly close to a year. But it's the good kind of busy. It's workload busy. Yeah, it's running around crazy, not sleeping and eating kind of poorly busy, but it's work. We're being productive for our clients. We're getting a lot done. It's just all happening at once, and that's unfortunate, but we'll get through it. I'm not complaining because I have some colleagues in other parts of the country going through a different kind of busy, which is why this week we have the Red Cross information down at the bottom of the screen. It's really the only way that we in this region can help those in that region. So if you're so inclined, I have the information down there. And thank you for anything you can do for those struggling down south. I have an ongoing list of topics that we're going to do videos on, and I didn't have anything prepared for this week, but I did recently take possession of the third ever 3D printed item that we've asked to have produced. We don't have a 3D printer here at Veranda Technologies, and maybe I should back up a step. I'm assuming people know what 3D printing is. I know many of you probably do. 3D printing is it's an additive manufacturing process by which, in most cases, it's plastic. You take hardened plastic, put it into a printer, create a file on a computer, much like an architect or builder would use AutoCAD for a home or a deck or a physical building, and you create a three-dimensional object, something you can hold in your hand and touch, and it prints it line by line, layer by layer, depth, height, width, and it builds the item. And you can do them, most of what you've seen 3D printed is one color. You can do multicolor. I'm going to show you in a couple minutes simply the coolest thing we've had 3D printed, and it's one of the coolest I've ever seen, but that's because I'm a Tesla enthusiast. You see some scrolling things there, things that people have made with a 3D printer. Pretty cool. Little sliders back and forth for keeping track of when you feed. Little cable management to keep cables running around the outside of the desk. Anything you could really think of. The wrench is super cool. I've actually used a 3D printed wrench, and the knob turns and you can actually use it. It's pretty durable. A little battery dispenser. So most of what you see scrolling are just fun things that people did. The medical industry, there you go. Never keep all your drinks poured exactly the same, your shots. The medical industry's actually used these. They have a 3D printed heart inside somebody's body, believe that or not. It's phenomenal. They're making organs with them, prosthetics. Somebody's 3D printed a gun. We can get carried away with this stuff, but you can 3D print pretty much anything, and some of it, like the wrench or the gun, can function if made properly. I love those cups. I'm trying to imagine what the inside looks like. I couldn't find a picture. So I have personally had 3 items 3D printed for me. The first, my first ever, was 4-hour washing machine. I didn't actually have these made. I bought them, but it turns out they're 3D printed. We have an older washing machine. It came with the house. It's probably 15, 16 years old at this point, but it still works. And I know that if I spend $2,000 on a new washing machine set, washer, dryer, they won't last 15 years. So I'm trying to keep the old ones as long as I can. Inside a washing machine is the drum that moves back and forth and moves the clothes around. It's called agitating the clothes. And if you lift that up, under the part of inside the drum, there are 3 tiny little pieces of plastic. They're called agitator dogs. They have notches on them. I ordered a set and they were 3D printed. So I guess the manufacturer didn't have the original part left. So for $15, I bought a part for the washing machine, installed it myself, and our washer works again. The second thing I needed, which I almost dropped, was my wife bought a set of lights for our backyard. And it's a string of lights there's 20 or 24, I think 24 sockets, but we only had room for about 18, so there's 6 or 7 that at the corner of the house, just go straight down the corner of the house, they're unused sockets, but you can't remove them. They're built into the electrical line. If I leave a light bulb in them, it could melt the siding on the house. It wouldn't cause a fire or anything, but I might melt the siding on my house, and I didn't want to do that. By not putting a light bulb in them, I have an open socket that my kids or neighbor kids can stick their fingers in, and even if that didn't happen, moisture gets in there. And when moisture gets into electricity, your circuit trips and then the lights go off, and now my deck lights are off and the pool lights are off. It was a problem for a while. So I called a friend out west, and I said, I need a fake light bulb. And I don't even need the top part. I just need the stem, the base of the light bulb. So he made for me a dozen. I think I only used 7 of them, so I have 5 spares. And they're just screw-in bases. This was printed on a 3D printer. He printed 12 of them face down like this, and it built from the bottom and slowly worked its way up to the nub at the top, an insert that screws into my socket like a light bulb would. And then recently, I found these on eBay. I actually got 2 as gifts for local friends with the current Tesla. I'm waiting for the cheap Tesla, the Model 3, which is coming out. Mine is slated to be delivered sometime in May or June if I should decide that I can afford it. But these were made. I think they're pretty incredible. They are, I believe, 6 pieces. So there's, behind the white, there's the Tesla logo. That's a red insert. There's this red piece here. The white, obviously. Each side has a post. And then the bottom base, I presume, was printed in one. And then glued together. So the person actually bothered to drill a hole or core a hole in the back, run a USB cable through it, and then even went through the trouble. That's a lightning plug for my phone, for my iPhone. Even went through the trouble, I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it, but putting a little hole up top so that it would look like a Tesla supercharger. So it's a Tesla iPhone supercharger, and it stands on the desk beautifully. You can't see it when I put it down there. You plug it into the, I plug it in my laptop when I'm out, and then I can take the cord out, pop the cord out of up here, and charge my iPhone. So, just the level of detail, I thought, they did a pretty remarkable job. It is a scale version of a Tesla supercharger that you'll start to see in your travels on the roads now. So, just pretty cool. If you can dream it, obviously mechanical, anything that needs batteries or power, you need to do something like that where you run a cord through it. But there's a chip clip. There's some really, really cool stuff that people have come up with and designed. I guess that's some kind of fruit or vegetable to make it evenly cut, and then you use it to rinse. It's pretty neat stuff. You can find most of what you're looking for online. If you've thought about it, somebody else has probably thought about it and already done it. But just thought I'd show off a couple of the 3D printed things that we've had done for us and why. I love this little light bulb thing. It solved a real need. I had a very practical need for this, and for $20, somebody printed me 12 light bulbs. $20 shipped from where he was. So it probably cost him $8 or $10 to make those, and then another $5 or $6 to ship it to me. So just pretty cool. Again, Red Cross information down at the bottom if you can help those in Texas. If you have something that you'd like to see 3D printed, we'd love to put the request in for you and get it done. We know people with them, we just don't have one here in-house. But we know people certainly that have 3D printers, so if there's something you could think of, a prototype, something that you've needed along these lines, and we can solve that need for you, great. If you have a topic for a video, please let me know. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, stay safe, and we'll see you next week on Tech Talk Tuesday.